Pain does not arrive loudly. It does not announce itself. It slips in quietly, like a shadow that decides to stay. Tabitha learned this on an ordinary evening, at an ordinary meal, surrounded by ordinary love. The life before. The afternoon sun painted golden squares across the courtyard floor. Tabitha stood in the center of her mother's home, arms outstretched, while Naomi circled her with pins between her lips and fabric draped over her shoulders. "Hold still, my dove," Naomi murmured, her fingers working the cream-colored linen that would become a wedding dress. "Samuel will forget his own name when he sees you." Tabitha laughed, the sound bright and unguarded. 22 years old, engaged to a kind man, blessed with health and a family that loved her. Life stretched before her like an open road on a clear day. "Mama, you're embarrassing me." A mother's privilege. Naomi stepped back, studying her daughter with artist's eyes. "Perfect. You'll be the most beautiful bride Capernaum has ever seen." Tabitha touched the fabric, soft under her fingertips. In 3 months, she would wear this dress. In 3 months, she would become Samuel's wife. In 3 months, her real life would begin. She had no way of knowing that in 3 months, she would be dying instead. That evening, the family gathered for dinner. Tabitha's father, Eli, blessed the bread. Her younger brothers argued over portions. Naomi ladled lentil stew into wooden bowls. The oil lamps flickered. Conversation flowed like water. Normal. Blessed, safe. Tabitha reached for her cup, and that's when it happened. A warmth between her legs, a wetness, a sensation that didn't belong. She froze, cup halfway to her lips. No, not now. Her monthly bleeding had ended for days ago. This couldn't be. She looked down. The blood had already soaked through her robe, a dark stain spreading across the pale fabric. Her mother saw it first. Naomi's face went white. "Tabitha, I don't understand." Tabitha's voice came out small, childlike. "It already came this month. It already." Her father looked away quickly, as custom demanded. Her brothers suddenly found the ceiling fascinating. "Come." Naomi's hand closed around her daughter's wrist, firm but gentle. "Come with me, now." They left the table in silence. Behind them, Eli's voice rose in forced conversation, covering the moment, pretending nothing had shattered. But something had. In the privacy of the sleeping quarters, Naomi helped Tabitha out of the stained robe. The bleeding continued, steady and wrong. "It's nothing," Tabitha said, trying to convince herself. "Just my body confused. It will stop." Naomi said nothing. She fetched clean cloths, water, a fresh robe. Her hands moved efficiently, but her eyes carried something Tabitha had never seen there before. "Fear. It will stop," Tabitha repeated, louder this time, as if volume could make it true. It didn't stop. Not that night. Not the next day. Not the day after that. Part 2. The diagnosis. The physician's house smelled of herbs and something else, something sharp and clinical that made Tabitha's stomach turn. She sat on a low stool while the old man examined her, Naomi standing guard at the door like a sentinel. The physician asked questions. When had it started? How heavy was the flow? Was there pain, fever, other symptoms? Tabitha answered quietly, each word an admission of something shameful. Finally, the physician stepped back. He wiped his hands on a cloth, slowly, methodically. He would not meet her eyes. "It's an issue of blood," he said. Tabitha waited for more, waited for the cure, the remedy, the hope. The physician shook his head. "I've seen this before. Not often, thank God, but I've seen it. Can you treat it?" Naomi's voice was steel wrapped in desperation. "I can try." The physician moved to his shelves, pulling down jars and pouches, a tonic of myrrh and hyssop, pomegranate rind boiled in wine. Strict diet, no meat, no rich foods, complete rest. He wrapped the remedies in cloth and handed them to Naomi. Then he named his price. It was high, very high. Naomi paid without hesitation. "How long?" Tabitha asked. "How long until I'm well?" The tonics tasted like bitterness and false hope. Tabitha drank them faithfully. She followed every instruction, observed every restriction. She rested. She prayed. The bleeding continued. Weeks passed, then a month, then 2. Samuel came to visit, his face carefully neutral. They sat in the courtyard with Naomi present, as propriety demanded, and spoke of nothing important. The weather, the fishing, the neighbors, not the wedding, never the wedding. "How are you feeling?" Samuel asked, the same question he always asked. "Better." Tabitha lied, the same lie she always told. Samuel nodded, relief washing over his features. He wanted to believe her, needed to believe her. Good. That's good. Soon everything would be back to normal. But they both knew normal had already left, slipping away like water through cupped hands. 3 months became 4 became 5. The physician tried new remedies, treatments that left Tabitha weak and trembling. Nothing worked. The bleeding never stopped, and with it came the whispers. In the marketplace, women turned away when she approached. At the well, conversations died when she arrived. At the synagogue, people created space around her family, a circle of isolation. The law was clear. A woman with an issue of blood was unclean. Everything she touched became unclean. Everyone she touched became unclean. She was walking contamination. Tabitha tried to hide it, binding herself with extra cloths. Moving carefully, touching nothing, but everyone knew. In a town like Capernaum, everyone always knew. Naomi was the one who told her. They sat together in the sleeping quarters, the oil lamp burning low, and her mother held her while the truth shattered everything remaining. Samuel released you from the betrothal. Tabitha didn't cry. She had no tears left. He found someone else? Not yet, but he will. Good. The word tasted like ash. He should. He deserves a real woman. Not this. I'm happy for him, Mama. Part 3. The Descent. Year 1 became Year 2. They paid for treatments. A physician from Tiberias, a renowned healer from Jerusalem, a woman who claimed to work miracles with Egyptian herbs. Nothing worked. The money disappeared like water into sand. By Year 3, Tabitha rarely left the house. Why bother? Every trip outside meant stairs. She watched from the window as life happened to other people. Weddings, births, celebrations. The normal rhythms of normal lives. Year 4 brought a new healer to Capernaum, a man with wild eyes and wilder promises. He claimed to have studied with mystics in Babylon, to know secrets that conventional physicians ignored. The healer performed rituals, burned incenses, chanted prayers in languages Tabitha didn't recognize. He gave her amulets to wear, powders to consume, oils to anoint herself with. For 3 months, Tabitha followed every instruction with the mechanical precision of someone who had stopped hoping but couldn't stop trying. The bleeding continued. By Year 7, they were poor. The house needed repairs they couldn't afford. Meals became simpler. Naomi's hands, once soft, grew rough from work. Tabitha's brothers married and moved to their own homes. Life went on for everyone else. Only Tabitha remained frozen. One afternoon in the marketplace, Tabitha stood at a spice merchant's store, counting out her few remaining coins for cumin and salt. She heard the laughter before she saw them 3 women her age, probably younger, standing near the fabric seller. One of them was visibly pregnant. They were discussing baby names, their faces bright with anticipation. One of them noticed Tabitha watching. The laughter died. The pregnant woman touched her belly unconsciously, protectively, as if Tabitha's very gaze might contaminate the child within. They moved away quickly, still talking, but quieter now, stealing glances over their shoulders. Tabitha finished her purchase and walked home through streets that felt emptier with each step. Part 4. The Wasteland. Year 10. A decade, an entire portion of a life, consumed. Tabitha had stopped counting the physicians, the healers, the miracle workers. She had stopped counting the coins spent, the promises broken, the treatments that did nothing except make her feel foolish for believing. She had stopped counting everything except the days, until death would finally show mercy. Year 11 came like a thief, stealing more but giving nothing in return. Naomi worked as a seamstress now, taking in mending and alterations. Her eyes strained in the lamplight. Her fingers bled from needle pricks, but she never complained. Tabitha tried to help, but even simple tasks exhausted her. A decade of constant bleeding had left her weak, dizzy, perpetually cold even in summer. She had become a burden, a financial drain, a source of shame. She knew this. Everyone knew this. The knowing made it worse. Part 5. The rumor. Year 12 began like all the others with pain, with bleeding, with the mechanical motions of survival. But something was different. Whispers rippled through Capernaum like wind across water. A new teacher, a healer, a man who spoke with authority and touched the untouchable. His name was Jesus. At first, Tabitha ignored the rumors. She had heard them before. Miracle workers arrived like spring rain, promised everything, delivered nothing, and left with full purses and empty consciences. But these rumors persisted. A man with leprosy, cleansed. A paralytic, walking. A Roman servant, healed from a distance. Exaggerations, Tabitha muttered when Naomi mentioned it. Lies. Perhaps. Her mother's voice was careful, neutral. But people are talking. Many people. Even the skeptics. What if it's true? Tabitha laughed. A harsh sound. It's not. But what if? Mama, please. Exhaustion weighted every word. I can't hope again. Hope costs too much. Days passed. The rumors grew. Jesus had taught in the synagogue. The people were amazed. Jesus had cast out demons. The demons obeyed him. Jesus had touched a leper and wasn't afraid. That last one caught Tabitha's attention despite herself. Wasn't afraid. The leper, like her, was unclean, untouchable, a walking source of contamination. And this Jesus had touched him anyway. That night, lying in the darkness, Tabitha allowed herself a thought she'd forbidden for years. Asterisk what if? Asterisk. She heard he was leaving Capernaum, traveling to other towns. Her window of opportunity was closing. I want to go, she told her mother one morning. Naomi looked up from her sewing, surprise flickering across her face. Go where? To see him. This Jesus. Tabitha, I know it's probably nothing. I know I'm probably setting myself up for disappointment again. But Mama Dot, what if I don't go and it was real? What if this was my chance and I was too afraid to take it? Then she nodded. Then we go. They asked around the marketplace, trying to be subtle, failing completely. Everyone knew who was asking and why. The pitying looks returned. The careful distance. There she goes again. Poor thing. Can't accept that some things can't be fixed. Let them think what they wanted. Tabitha was past caring about anything. They learned he was at Jairus' house. The synagogue ruler's daughter was sick, possibly dying. Jesus had gone there. A crowd would be there. A large crowd. Tabitha's resolve wavered. Crowds meant bodies. Bodies meant contact. Contact meant contamination. She would make everyone she touched unclean. I can't, she whispered. I can't push through a crowd. It's not right. Naomi gripped her hand. You've spent 12 years worrying about what's right. 12 years following rules that have given you nothing. Maybe it's time to break them. What's the worst that can happen? They reject you? They already have. They shame you? They already do. At least this way, you'll know you tried. Tabitha closed her eyes. What's the worst that can happen? She could remain as she was, broken, bleeding, dying slowly. Or she could take one more risk. If I can just touch him, she whispered. Not even him, just his garment. Just the edge. If I can just. The crowd. They arrived at midday. The crowd around Jairus' house was massive, hundreds of people pressing close, trying to see the teacher, trying to hear his words, trying to touch him for blessing. Tabitha's courage nearly failed. So many people, so many bodies, so many ways to be rejected. I'll wait here. Look at them. I'll never get through, she said, stopping at the edge of the crowd. No. Naomi's grip tightened. We didn't come this far to stop now. Then we push. But, Tabitha, you have bled for 12 years. You have lost everything. You have nothing left to lose. So stop being polite. Stop being careful. Stop protecting everyone else from your condition. For once in 12 years, take something for yourself. The words hit like a physical blow. Naomi was right. 12 years of being careful had gained her nothing. 12 years of consideration and propriety and following rules had left her broken and dying. No more. If this works, I need to do this part alone. She tried to smile. Tabitha turned toward the crowd and stepped forward. The first few people moved aside easily, not recognizing her. Then someone saw her face, and the whispers started. That's her, the one with the issue. Don't let her touch you. The crowd began to part, but not out of courtesy. Out of fear. She was contamination walking, uncleanness personified. Tabitha kept moving, bodies pressed close despite their disgust. The crowd too thick to truly separate. She felt their revulsion like a physical thing in the way they twisted away, in their sharp intakes of breath, in their muttered prayers for protection. I'm sorry, she thought with each accidental touch. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But she didn't stop. She could see him now. Jesus, a man in simple robes, walking slowly, speaking to Jairus, surrounded by disciples who tried and failed to manage the crowd. He was moving away from her, heading toward the synagogue ruler's house. If she didn't reach him now, she never would. Tabitha pushed harder. Someone shoved back. An elbow caught her ribs. She stumbled, nearly fell, caught herself. Get back! Don't touch me. Unclean. She's unclean. The words rained down like stones, but Tabitha barely heard them. All her focus narrowed to a single point, the hem of his garment. She was close now, so close. Just a few more feet, a few more bodies, a few more moments of courage. Her hand stretched out. Just the hem. Just touch the hem. Part 7. The touch. Time seemed to slow. Tabitha's fingers extended, trembling, reaching through the press of bodies. One more inch. One more. She touched it. Just barely. Just the tasseled edge of his prayer shawl, and everything changed. Power. That's the only word for it. Power flowed from him into her like lightning. Like water. Like something alive and intentional. It coursed through her body, electric and warm and utterly unmistakable. The bleeding stopped. Not gradually, not eventually, immediately. Tabitha gasped. Her knees buckled. She caught herself against someone's back, but barely noticed their protest. The constant pain in her abdomen gone. The weakness in her limbs gone. The heaviness in her chest gone. For the first time in 12 years, her body felt whole. The realization hit her like a wave, and she nearly wept right there in the middle of the crowd. She was healed. Healed. The word seemed impossible, even as she felt the truth of it in every cell of her body. She needed to leave. Quickly, the entire crowd stumbled to a halt, confused. Jairus looked back, impatient. They were almost to his house. His daughter was dying. Why stop now? But Jesus stood completely still. He turned slowly, scanning the crowd. Who touched me? The question fell into sudden silence. Tabitha's heart stopped. One of his disciples, Peter, she would learn later, gestured at the press of bodies around them. Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you. How can you ask, who touched me? Someone touched me. Jesus' voice was calm, but certain. I felt power go out from me. Tabitha shrank back, trying to disappear into the crowd. No. Please don't let him find me. I got what I needed. But Jesus kept looking, his eyes moving across the faces around him, patient and unhurried. Tabitha stepped forward. The crowd parted instantly, recognizing her, recoiling. The path between her and Jesus opened like a wound. She trembled violently, her legs barely holding her. Every eye was on her now. Every face registered shock, disgust, understanding. She fell to her knees before him, unable to stand, unable to speak, unable to do anything but shake like a leaf in a storm. I'm sorry, she finally whispered. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I've been sick for 12 years and I've tried everything and nothing worked. And I heard about you and I thought if I could just touch your garment, just the edge, maybe. The words tumbled out in a rush. Confession and explanation and apology all tangled together. I know I made you unclean. I know I wasn't supposed to touch you. I know I broke the law. But I was desperate, and I didn't know what else to do, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Daughter, the single word stopped her mid-sentence. She looked up. Jesus was looking at her, really looking at her, not through her, not past her, not at her condition, at her. His eyes held no disgust, no condemnation, no anger, only compassion. "Daughter," he said again, and the word wrapped around her like a blanket, like arms, like home. "Your faith has healed you. Go in peace. Be freed from your suffering." Tabitha couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't process what she was hearing. "Daughter, not unclean thing. Daughter." When was the last time someone had called her that? When was the last time anyone had looked at her and seen a person instead of a problem? She had spent 12 years as an abstraction, the one with the issue. The unclean woman, the bleeding one. She had forgotten she had a name, had forgotten she was human. And this man, this teacher she touched without permission, this healer she contaminated, called her daughter. The tears came then, hot and fast and unstoppable. Not tears of sadness, tears of recognition. She had been lost, and now she was found.
Thank you so much for joining me for this story today. If it resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content that explores these powerful narratives of hope and transformation. We'll see you next time.